What's a few million bricks between friends? Hi everyone, I'm Jacob, I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about Billions of Bricks by the talented Cyrus. We bought this book at my library a few years ago. I stumbled onto it and presented about it at a conference because I enjoyed it so much. And unfortunately, it never quite found the traction in my library's picture book collection that I had hoped. We ended up having to pull it from the collection due to lack of use, which is very disappointing because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, it's a book that was originally published in Britain, and for the life of me, I can't remember if we imported it at my library or if there was also a North American release of it. At any rate, it's a counting book that sort of gets children used to the idea of very big numbers. It starts off very, very small, counting 2, 4, 6 as there's a stack of bricks waiting for the workers, and things progress throughout, and by the end they're counting a million billion bricks used for everything, and it's a lot of fun. The counting scales up very, very well. The illustration style isn't as saturated as some illustrators like, but it's very, very appropriate for this book. I think a book with very, very saturated red bricks that were bright and colorful would be very hard to look at and visually jarring. The gentler, almost watercolory, washed out tones of this work very, very well, and they allow the words to be at the forefront, and they're fantastic. There's not a single rhythm repeated on every page, but a few different rhyming patterns that he uses over and over and over again. So there's always a great rhythm while you're reading. It's just, it's not always the same one. And so it keeps things a little bit fresh for the listeners and a little more interesting for the reader as well. It's not a book where you put your mind on autopilot and read aimlessly to kids in front of you. You have to stop and think briefly about what you're doing, and it's great. And here's an example of one of the pages and how the narrative works for it. Lay them at your feet, fit them nice and neat, 4 by 4, then more and more, repeat, repeat, repeat. On it goes in rows and rows, and soon you have a street. It's delightful. It's wonderful. It's a fun rhythm, a sing-song rhythm that you can sink your teeth into, and that makes it very easy to capture the kids' attention. So, if you're looking for a fun counting book, if you're looking for a fun building book, if you are looking for something that's just a delight to read aloud, I highly recommend Billions of Bricks by Cyrus. Now, with that said, there are spoilers ahead, and I have to talk about a teeny tiny deal breaker. Okay, first the spoilers. There's a very, very fun Where's Waldo element in this book. At the beginning, there are 3 people heading to a construction site. A man carrying a ladder, a woman carrying a small dolly, and a boy with a white hard hat. And as the story progresses, they're somewhere in every single image doing things. They'll be carrying things in the background, or the woman will be picking up spilled bricks and the boy will be offering his brick to a worker. And every single illustration has these 3 characters in it. And it's very, very fun following them around and seeing what they're up to. I tend to do it after the fact. I'll read this story to my kids or to a group of kids at the library and then come back to find the people after so I don't ruin the rhythm of the narrative. But as the story wraps up, these characters have been appearing in and out in the background all along. At the very end, they're leaving at the end of the day, everyone's tired, the boy's finally put his brick down, and on the very last page, whoops! The man carrying all the equipment trips over the very last brick that they were using. It's really funny, it's unexpected. The final stanza of the book wraps things up very, very nicely and in a high point for the readers. It's great. So then, what's the deal breaker? Well, it's not in this book. That's the thing. This was wonderful. And when I heard Cyrus wrote another similar book, Trillions of Trees, I was excited. I was thrilled that he was writing something else. I ordered it from my library. I put a hold on it so I could read it to my kids. And it came in a few months back, and it was disappointing. It had some of the same rhythm, but in various places, to me, it seemed a little clunkier, like it needed another pass by Cyrus to get it up to the level of this book's writing. This book felt like Cyrus was being reasonable with the numbers. The title is Billions of Bricks, and in the city I live in, there's a local college that originally was built using exactly 1 million bricks, or so my wife tells me. So it's not a stretch to think of 1,000 buildings like that adding up to 1 billion bricks. Nothing to it. But in Trillions of Trees, the characters work all day long planting trees around town, and they plant 1,000 of them. And while 1,000 trees is a lot of trees and it was a big job, compared to trillions of trees, it's not even close to being on the same scale. It didn't give kids a real idea of what 1 trillion trees would be. It didn't prepare them for that magnitude of thinking, and it felt a little misleading to me. I liked it. I had fun with it. I'm certainly not sad I have it in our library, but I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend Trillions of Trees the way I would with Billions of Bricks. This is fantastic. Go borrow it from your library and read it to your children or the students in your class or these children coming to your story times. You won't regret it. But Trillions of Trees, maybe save it for the diehards, the ones who can't get enough of this and also love books with an environmental message. With that, thanks for listening to me talk about Billions of Bricks. Please like, please subscribe, and please check back to see what else I have to talk about from the Cowhat Library. Thank you. Bye now.